you have a wish list for McFarlane toys in the DC Multiverse? Well, I do, and we're going to talk about it today on PB's Toy Hunt. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to PB's Toy Hunt. I am PB, and today I will be talking about my wish list for McFarlane DC Multiverse. We've gotten so many amazing characters since McFarlane took over the license, but there are so many we haven't gotten, and there are so many that probably are right for an update. So let's dive in and see what we can come up with. First up, we have Mr. Miracle and Big Barda. Some of the new guys. Now, you're going to see a theme during this whole presentation regarding new guys. There's something about the new guys that Jack Kirby created that have always been amazing to me. The spectacle, the colors, the detail in some of these characters are so amazing, and they would look so perfect on any display shelf. Now, we haven't gotten a scot-free Mr. Miracle and Big Barda in quite some time. Although they've been prominent in the animated universe, whether it was Justice League Unlimited, and even some of the more recent DC animated films, Big Barda and Mr. Miracle always play a prominent part when anytime they have to deal with Apocalypse. And the last one we got was this set back in the DC Direct days. As you can see, the scale was definitely smaller than what we get right now, and they're basically mini statues. And it's time to bring those back with some proper scale and definitely more detail and some updated articulation. So I'm looking forward to having Mr. Miracle and Big Barda on my shelf sometime soon. Next up, let me paint the picture for you. How many Batmans have we gotten in the last 2 or 3 years? How many different Batmans have we gotten? It's too many to count. And Batman has so many different costumes, eras, artists, actors. But what have we not gotten? We've not gotten a proper Bruce Wayne. The time is ripe for an actual Bruce Wayne in a suit. Now, I'm not sure what he would come with. I'm not sure how you would sell him or promote it, but not an unmasked Batman, an actual Bruce Wayne. It's time for a Bruce Wayne. And in the same vein, it's time for a Clark Kent, a regular suited Clark Kent, Daily Planet type Clark Kent. It could be a Daily Planet deluxe set or something, but it's time for a Bruce Wayne and a Clark Kent outside of the actual Superman and Batman. We get tons of. How many Superman have we gotten? We get all these different versions of the characters, except we don't get the other side of those characters. So at some point, it could be a secret identity wave. You can include a Barry Allen in there or something. But definitely get us like a Barry Allen with a CSI set. But we're overdue to get some actual secret identity figures. It's been a long time, and McFarlane definitely needs to update these. Next up, we have Decide, Darkseid's right hand man. We get Darkseid's one of my favorite characters, and so many times we get Darkseid, but we have yet to get a proper Decide to go next to him. That's his right hand dude. We got to get Decide on the shelf along with some of the other new guys that I'll touch on later. But there's not been a good Decide since DC Multiverse, or maybe even Superpowers. So it's been a long time since we had a Decide produced, and hopefully we can get him in the pipeline here very soon. Darkseid without Decide is like Batman without Robin. That's his dude. Next up is Giganta. The completist in me wants to complete the Legion of Doom, and I can't do that without Giganta. There was a Build-A-Figure in the DC Multiverse line. I'm priced out of that though. That Build-A-Figure is going for $200-300, and if you look at it, it's not worth $200 or $300. So there's no way I'll pay for that. But we could definitely get a deluxe figure or a Build-A-Figure with Giganta to complete the Legion of Doom. Now, her original costume with the loincloth, I know that won't fly in today's climate. So we can definitely get her with the updated battle suit like she is here in this picture with Wonder Woman. But just need a proper scale, a proper size to match up with the McFarlane characters, because if you customize it, that figure will stand out because it won't look like it goes with the other figures. So uh, definitely want to get our Gigantor into the fold. And after that, we have Granny Goodness. Once again, the New God theme. The got to complete the New Gods. So you'll see a few more maybe here and there throughout the my presentation, but definitely want Granny Goodness. Maybe not the I forget what they call the ladies under her, but because there's different ones all the time, so don't need them, but definitely need Granny Goodness when you're dealing with anything in an apocalypse type or Jack Kirby display. Uh, Definitely want Granny Goodness as a figure here soon. She can come in some kind of set or something, or just be a solo release. It could be an apocalypse wave. Now, the Bat family gets so much love. We get all the Batmen, all the Robins, we get all the Batwomen and all the Batgirls, but we don't get a proper Huntress. Now, her original costume she came out with was a little risque, but as when they made it a little bit more practical, this would be a great figure with some great accessories to add to the Bat family in that display. So I would definitely like to see the Huntress added in the near future. Not sure how long it would take to get her because McFarlane doesn't really do well with female figures for some reason. I guess they think they won't sell, uh, but they can sell it on the website or something. But we definitely need the Huntress at some point in the near future. Now, this team is near and dear to my heart. I love the JSA, good old Justice Society of America. We've gotten some of the Justice Society, like Dr. Fate, uh, Jay Garrick, and just recently Hawkman came out. But we're missing Wildcat. We're missing Our Man. We're missing Stargirl. There's so many other. Oh, missing Stripe. There's so many other characters in the JSA that we have yet to receive or see or even hear about. So I would definitely love to see the JSA be completed at some point. Now, completed is speaking of the JSA, completed is a loose term because there have been so many members, but there is a core that sat at the table and maybe a few on the outside that deserve the action figure treatment. Now, this is a holy grail figure for me, and that's Lex Luthor, plain Lex Luthor in a suit. Maybe Lex and Mercy could be together, but just a plain Lex Luthor in a suit. Years ago, DC Direct they dropped an image of a prototype for a Lex Luthor in a suit, and fans lost their mind. And then all of a sudden, it just I don't remember what happened. Either DC Direct went away, but that image just it never came to be, and it disappeared. And I don't know what happened. Ever since then, I've always wanted one, but that stoked the fire to say yes, it can be done. Just no battle suits, no armor, uh, not Lex Luthor trying to be Superman. No, just a regular Lex Luthor, the maniacal, conniving Lex Luthor in a business suit. Uh, so we got the Joker interrogation scene. It could be a Lex Luthor office scene because I would definitely like to see Lex Luthor uh, do a photo. I would definitely like to get a photo shoot of Lex Luthor with Superman hovering behind him. Like that image is one of my favorite images of all time. Lex Luthor at his desk, not even looking over his shoulder, with Superman hovering outside the window. So I would definitely like to get that, put that on the shelf somewhere. Yeah, Lex Luthor in a suit, long, long, long overdue. Pre Dark Knight Returns, comics were different, and we need a lot of those villains. And speaking of those villains, the Legion of Doom, even from just growing up watching the Super Friends, some of the characters from Legion of Doom are still missing. We have yet to get, let's say, Toyman, uh, a proper Brainiac. There's we got the Injustice Brainiac, but there's so many versions of Brainiac. We can always use a different one. We got 15 Jokers. We can get another Brainiac. There's a villain who doesn't get much love in the Batman Rose Gallery, and that's the Mad Hatter. So Mad Hatter is long overdue for a figure. Uh, we have Batman animated versions of him. We need a comic version of him in the actual multiverse line. So Jervis Tetch is overdue for a brand new figure. Next up, we have Metron and the Mobius chair. I mean, and this could be some kind of like a deluxe figure, maybe with an anti-life equation attached to him or something. But you can't think New Gods without including Metron. So I would definitely want a Metron on my New God shelf. Another Jack Kirby creation. The whole New God storyline is just great. I tend to go back and read it every now and then and try to find anything I can get my hands on regarding New Gods. Okay, next up we have Mr. Terrific. This could fall under completing the JSA, but as an individual character, I think Mr. Terrific is amazing, and he's due for an update. The last Mr. Terrific we had was back in the DC Multiverse line prior to McFarlane getting a license, and that figure is basically a Benny statue. So it's time to get him some updated articulation, some updated detail, and that jacket. The detail on the jacket would definitely be amazing. I'm sure they could pull it off. Now, with the casting, the new Superman Legacy film coming out in the DCU, I know at some point we're going to get a movie version of Mr. Terrific, which is great. All those characters that were cast, Hawkman, Hawkgirl, Metamorpho, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, all those, the movie will have tie-in figures, probably, and definitely through McFarlane. But we have to get a comic accurate Mr. Terrific before that happens. So in the time between now and those figures hit the shelves from the movie, I would definitely love to see a Mr. Terrific comic accurate figure on my shelf. Now, this might be a long shot or a pipe dream, but I would love to have a Nubia from the Amazons. Actually, more of the Themysciran characters, period. Wonder Woman's on the way. She hadn't hit pre-orders yet, but we saw her at Comic-Con. And we don't get a lot of female figures from McFarlane, but a Themyscira line, a Themyscira wave, might be something they could put in the cards. Diana, Nubia, Hippolyta. So there's a few characters from Themyscira that definitely could use action figure treatment. And she's been prominent in the book. She took over for Wonder Woman for a while, and she worked and fought with the JLA. So Nubia definitely could use an action figure. Next up, another new god, Orion. The son of Darkseid. Now, once again, when you think new gods, Orion has to be included. And he's been prominent, JLA, in the JLA books, in the Justice League cartoon, Justice League Unlimited. So definitely you want Orion as an action figure. And he could be a deluxe figure because he has all the additional armaments. Just the imagery from the new gods, they all are so highly detailed. And with the way sculpts are done now and molds, the only thing about it is that, when you have to do a new mold, it's going to end up being a deluxe figure. Because Orion will probably need his own mold just for the scale and the armor, unless they put the armor, unless the armor is attached separately. So, but we definitely need an Orion here very soon. And this is my guy, Plastic Man. I love Plastic Man. Ever since I was a kid, Plastic Man's been on cartoons. Batman the Brave and the Bold, Injustice. Plastic Man is one of the most powerful characters in the DC canon, and he's also one of the most fun. The last Plastic Man character was a DC Direct character a long time ago, and it was basically a figure with some long arms and a long neck. So it's time we got on the Marvel Legends side. There have been so many different Mr. Fantastics with so many different stretch options. It's time to put Plas back on the map. There was years ago, it was a movie talk. They've tried to put Flash in the movies for years, just hasn't worked. But it is time for a Plastic Man deluxe figure to be on the shelf. If you agree with this one, I will put this one near the top. So if you agree with this one, definitely we need to get with McFarlane. We need to reach out and let them know we want a Plastic Man. Now here's another amazing character, the Question. I would love to have the Question on my shelf. If you remember, anybody who watched Justice League Unlimited, you know the Question. Just he was an amazing character. He still is an amazing character, and his comic stories are. You should. I would definitely. I encourage everyone to find some Question stories because those stories are always great. It's time for him to get an updated figure. The most recent figure I had from the Question was from the DC Direct line back in the early 2000s, maybe, and it basically just stood there. There was no posing, there was no articulation. He was just a mini statue. So definitely want some updated articulation, maybe. No, I wouldn't say. I don't know if it's a soft goods cape or not. I mean, soft goods coat or not. But just an updated Question. It's time to bring him back into the DC multiverse. So, now here we have the Spectre. Long overdue for an update. The Spectre had a figure back in DC Direct. It was a glow in the dark figure, and it had it was the same scale as the other figures, but the Spectre should always be a little bit larger than everyone else. So as a deluxe figure, the Spectre would be perfect. Not sure you want to do a soft goods cape or not, but you definitely want a Spectre with some height or some stature to him, and and add some of the glow powers, accessories to him, and make him a deluxe figure. But the mystic side of the DC universe is largely untapped. And last but not least, we have Vixen. She was a prominent character in Justice League Unlimited and a great character actually in the Arrowverse as well. But she's long overdue for a figure, and that's once again the McFarlane company. There's something about female figures that they don't really want to tap into. So, but it's time they need to overcome that and give us some of the amazing female characters that are in the DC canon. And that's my list. Not a complete list by any means, because I'm sure if I dive into my comics or my graphic novels, I'll see some characters that need an update or introduction into the DC multiverse line. But most important, what do you want? What characters are missing from your collection that you want to see McFarlane put out in 2024 and beyond? Put them in the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so anytime we put out a video, you'll be the first one to know. Until next time, happy hunting.